It is Tuesday night and it's after a Grand Prix, and who knows, we might actually turn up and do an F1 podcast for once. There you go, you can hear me in the background as well. There we are. So, it is the Sunday Night League, and this is the F1 podcast, and we're here to talk about Silverstone, the Canadian Grand Prix, and no, it's not going to be a 3-hour podcast. We've got the Azerbaijan Grand Prix that we never spoke about either. We actually have a podcast today as well, so it's great to be here again. It's been a bit chaotic, basically, that's all. We thought we'd let you miss us for a bit, and then we'd come back. So I can't do these podcasts on my own, and, well, our usual person. Some say René Arnoux was so shocked to see him that he didn't say a word. And in fact, he's had to take the week off. Matt is so shocked, having met René Arnoux, that he isn't here right now. He might join us later in the podcast, who knows. But I am joined by, well, he's the man to beat, I think, at the moment. He's the Formula X champion, possibly the last Formula X champion. Who knows if that will ever come back. And he is a Le Mans Team Endurance champion with his teammate Cool Dude Boy. It is Wolfbane. How are you tonight, Wolfbane?
I'm very good, thank you. Very, very, very good, yes.
Oh, fantastic. How does it feel having won Le Mans just 10 days ago?
That's pretty good. It was... yeah. I mean, I wasn't expecting to win going into it. I know you said yourself you were expecting someone else to win. But it was... I think it was always going to be a close race, but I wasn't expecting to win it like that.
Well, it was a call for tyres at the right moment really opened it up for yourselves, but you were leading at the point as well, so it wasn't like it...
as well, I think.
Yeah, it's, I think he knows, ladies and gentlemen, he knows how many seconds he was leading when he made that pit stop. But it was a chaotic race, it was amazing to watch, but we're not here to talk about SNL just yet. We are the Sunday Night League. We are a GT7 based league as well, if this is the first time you're listening to us. But we're here to talk about Formula One, and I don't know if you've been away or, I don't know, under a rock, possibly. There was a race at the weekend at Silverstone, and some big things happened. Some of them were amazing, some of them were shocking, and some of them were just pure fear at times. And we'll talk about those bits and pieces as we go along. We won't maybe go into too much detail of the negative things that happened during that weekend. There was obviously a protest at the end during the first lap, which, if the cars were going down the hangar straight at full speed, could have been quite nasty, but fortunately, in a way, there was a huge accident for Joe, should I say. And we'll talk about that to start off with. That Alfa Romeo going into turn one upside down. I don't know if you watched this live, Wolfbane.
I did,
but
yeah.
How was that? Watching?
I was kind of half watching the race start, and at the corner of my eye, I saw a car upside down sliding off the track. That was concerning. Concerning's probably putting it mildly, but that's, yeah.
It was concerning. I watched it delayed, but as live. I had no idea what was going on. So I saw that start and watched in horror, really, as cars going upside down at that speed is quite scary. And also the fact that he seemed quite low down. Fortunately, though, okay, which, if you've seen the pictures of where that car landed, I mean, it's absolutely horrifying to see in the catch fencing and beyond the barrier. The halo showing exactly why it's needed. And actually, I was talking to Endurance Nut during yesterday evening, and how we had a conversation about whether the halo is worth having or not, I don't know, because it has proven itself time and time again how vital it is at preventing serious injury.
It really
and
has.
If not death. It's It is unbelievable what's happened there. And Endurance are actually in the chat as well saying, don't forget about Nizani in Formula 2. I don't know if you saw that accident.
I didn't see that one.
So that was caused by, well, there was some very aggressive weaving by Nizani actually, causing, I forget who went off onto the grass, who then hit a sausage curb that sent him into the air, and basically his car would have hit Nizani's head. And I suspect we would have seen a decapitation if the yes, just it was horrifying, really horrifying. Yes.
Now, oh my word, yeah. That was.
Which.
Yeah.
It brings the debate about sausage curbs into play as well, because Scott Mitchell of TheRace.com had made a really great point that said sausage curbs aren't needed if you regulate track limits appropriately.
Yeah, the point of the sausage curbs is to deter people from driving off track, but if you're careful with, like, if the FIA are doing their job properly and monitoring track limits properly, there shouldn't be a need for them. No,
and it's surprising when you see in BRDC events where they invalidate laps when drivers go beyond track limits, and that's at club level.
Yeah.
Why the FIA can't do that at such a sophisticated level such as Formula 1, I do not know. The white line, we have it in SNL, the white line defines the track. If you could put four wheels beyond that white line, you will be in danger of getting penalties, because you've driven off track to gain an advantage. But there's been some interest.
I feel like it should be black and white, but it's not. There is a grey area somewhere, and these sausage curbs keep causing accidents.
They cause frightening.
Time and time again. Yeah, there are frightening accidents. It's oh dear, it's not good.
So we have that as well. Interestingly enough, I don't know your opinions of Max Verstappen, Perez's driving, and actually Hamilton and Leclerc. They all seem to be pushing drivers wide on exits as well. It seemed to be a bit touch and go.
I didn't see Leclerc or Hamilton do it, probably because I wasn't paying attention at the time, but I saw Verstappen and Perez do it, I think, more than once each, and that's... I mean, technically it's not illegal if they're not halfway alongside the car, but it's really rude.
Yes, and actually we did see last season drivers getting penalties for that.
Yeah.
So again, it's the inconsistency of penalties. Yay! I said we were going to be positive. Let's go positive.
Yeah, let's be positive.
Carlos Sainz, pole position in the wet. Absolutely fantastic driving from him. Also, a debut win. I mean, he's driven faster. He wasn't the fastest during the weekend, but sometimes you just have to just put it all together, and that's what happened to him.
Yeah, he got it all there at the right. He was there at the right time, and yeah, I mean, would he have got the win if Leclerc hadn't held Perez and Hamilton up for God knows how many laps it was? Yeah, I think he would. If that safety car hadn't come out, I'd have put my money on Hamilton.
Imagine being somebody who said Hamilton would never win this season, watching that race, not knowing how the result goes.
Yeah,
I was sweating. I'll admit, I was sweating, because even before then, when the Ferraris were squabbling over what they should do, and Hamilton was closing in about half a second a lap, and it went from 5.5 to 2.5. He was coming along, and it was like, oh no, this is all lining up Hamilton at the moment. I'm going to have egg on my face.
Yeah, I think it's It's hard to say because I wish Russell had been able to continue the race. That's another thing I don't know the whole story of, but from what Russell said, yeah, don't know if you heard that one.
The Russell story is quite interesting. I think there's been a few miscommunications. So what I've heard with the Russell thing is he had the damage and he stopped because he saw that Zhao had gone off.
Down.
So got upside down, went to go and check he was okay. He told the marshals not to move the car because it would restart. Because they have the restarters on them now, which took a long time for them to happen. And by the time Russell came back, the car was on a low loader and going back to the pits. So that's the story I've heard. Which, to be honest, the damage that was on that Mercedes, whether it would have, even if it had restarted, whether he'd have got it back to the pits, I don't think he would have done anyway. So. It's great that he checked on Zhao, and you watch those images, especially when you're involved and you're the one that's made contact with him. That must be absolutely horrifying.
Was it? No, it was Gasly that caused it, wasn't it?
Well, it was Gasly and Russell came together. So Gasly went for the gap in the middle, which
between the two
honestly, Gasly. Why he's putting his nose there when there's two cars in front? This is something Gasly, for me, we've talked about it in the podcast a few times, that he seems to be doing okay in that car. He's just but that's all really this season. He's not having a stellar one, and he's re-signed for AlphaTauri next year.
They clearly like him. He's had some really good seasons over the past few years. This one, I think it's a case of what we're seeing with a lot of the drivers, is just warming up to the new regulations.
I
hope it is.
Well, so no, it wasn't helped by Tsunoda torpedo as well, which then caused the damage to Verstappen. Which I don't know if you've seen on social media, the size of the piece of bodywork that was under Verstappen's car.
Oh my word! No, I haven't.
You can clearly see the AlphaTauri logo. It's massive. It's massive. So no wonder it felt like he had a puncher. Otherwise, I think we would have been seeing Verstappen winning this at a canter. That car is seriously quick.
Yeah, I'm glad Ferrari didn't completely screw it up this time. It was about time they stopped Verstappen and Red Bull's charge, but also, oh my word, Ferrari.
Well, let's talk about Ferrari. It's the first time we've actually been able to meet up since all the issues at Azerbaijan, that was just a disaster. 3 of their cars went out of that race with engine issues.
Yeah,
it's a brand new engine unit.
Yeah.
It's
not good. Not what you like to see.
No.
Yeah. They've certainly had a rockier season than Red Bull so far.
And Red Bull had such a bad start.
Yeah.
that is the thing.
Neither teams had a perfectly clean season so far, which I feel like we kind of got used to seeing one team run away with it over the years, but the last couple of seasons when there's been a fight for the top, both teams have had their issues. It's quite interesting to see.
It is. It causes big swings. We've got, as it stands right now, we have got Verstappen leading the championship by 34 points, which Leclerc was leading it by 46 after the Australian Grand Prix or something along those lines. It is swinging. We've only had 10 rounds so far, so we're not halfway yet in the season. There's plenty of things to happen. That Mercedes is looking quicker, although I think Silverstone did show all its good sides.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens at the Red Bull Ring. Next time out. Is it the Red Bull Ring next time out?
It is Red Bull Ring next time. We've got Red Bull Ring and Red Bull Ring on the same weekend, I think.
Ah, yes. I think that's maybe why I did that. Sometimes I queue up things without really realising why I've done them. But I suspect that's why I put the Red Bull Ring there for that weekend. So it is Red Bull Ring next weekend. I got confused because somebody was talking about Paul Ricard. And I was thinking,
that's the one after. Well,
that's the one after.
It's the race after.
Yeah.
I don't know how many weeks it is.
I think are we on a 3 weeks spell?
Maybe. Let me just
look at this preparation. Let's two men look up stuff on the internet. Let's load it up.
No, it's a couple of weeks from Austria.
Oh, that's okay.
We've
They're
got
not
Austria,
doing
Hungary, and then the summer break.
The summer break. Oh, wow, that's come around very quickly. But we are in July.
We are,
so that's how time works, people. Try and teach that to 8-year-olds. Anyway, let's talk about the race again. The safety car really brought everything back together, and we saw, I think, some absolutely tremendous racing. The new section, I say it's new, it's been there for a long time now. The new Sector 1 at Silverstone produces some great racing. We saw Hamilton, Perez, Leclerc having an epic battle at the end, and Alonso was there just stalking in the background.
I mean, on the was it the safety car? No, it wasn't the safety. No, it was the red flag restart. The Ferraris and Red Bulls, I think, were 4 wide for a moment through turn 4.
They were, as Leclerc clattered into Perez and gave him some damage.
It was interesting to see. I'm not sure why 4 wide was a good idea, but
it's great to see.
It is good to see, but please be careful.
Yes, if you're doing league racing, do back out of that sort of situation, because it's only going to end in calamity and end up with stuff for the stewards to look at. So it is fantastic to watch. These cars are definitely a lot better at chasing each other and following each other, and they're just brilliant to watch. I am jealous of anybody who may go to race this year and see them.
Well, I'm supposedly going to see Spa this year.
There you go. It's like I plan these things and segue into it. Spa this year.
I've been trying to go for the last 3 years, but COVID happened. And then it rained a lot.
That? And then it rained a lot. It did. It rained a lot. You'll see the new Eau Rouge as well.
Be interesting.
So I've just been distracted there. My GT7 is telling me the marriage of the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge. There you go. Important stuff.
Random information it gives.
It does give us some interesting information. Anyway, let's go back to the Formula One.
Yes.
Let's have a look at the finish. Oh, well, I've just spotted somebody there. 8th place.
Yep.
8th place. Never has an 8th place felt so important than Mick Schumacher finally getting his first points in Formula One.
And it wasn't even he squeezed into it. It was, that was like he was driving really, really well. I wish he'd have got Verstappen.
They were having a good fight, weren't they? Verstappen was really putting it on the edge. So, yes, it was a good scrap. He, as you said, just drove a brilliant race. He started down about 19th and 20th place, didn't he? At the start. He was all the way at the back, but...
19th, yeah.
19th, there we go.
He gained more positions that race than Vettel did.
Wow.
Vettel started 18th and finished 10th?
Yeah, 9th.
9th.
Good memory, though. Yeah, Vettel... We'll talk about Vettel, actually, because he had an interesting demonstration run as well. I don't know if you saw that. But yeah, Mick Schumacher finally getting that camel off his back. Off his back. Monkey off his back. And a camel. and his first points. Will that convince Haas, do you think, to keep him on, or are we still needing to see more?
I think we need to see more. I want to say they'll keep him on, but I think we need to see more. I reckon that Haas has looked good at some tracks, and he beat Magnussen. He might not need to get more points. He might just need to beat Magnussen.
Which he's shown the pace.
Yeah.
Now,
And not crash.
I know at the start. And yes, at the start of the season we were a bit worried that Magnussen jumped into that car and was immediately quicker, but Mick seems to be adapting, which Mick is an adaptive driver. We've said this about his junior career. It was always the second season he'd win the championship or have an attempt at the championship.
You won't be doing that here, but...
No, but second year in this generation of car, next season, maybe we start to see the benefit that he's learnt from. So I personally would like to see him stay on. I think he's doing just enough, but only just.
Yeah,
only to stay in. But it does depend. I don't think there's any super rookies in Formula 2 that are ready for F1, but we'll talk about maybe one driver that we expect to see next year, and that's Oscar Piastri, who Latifi got himself into Q3 and was running around in the points for a long time in that Williams, but finishing off in 12th. I feel the writing's on the wall for Latifi.
Yeah, it was. I think it was his best weekend so far, but I think it's only a matter of time for him. He's just... Albon seems to be outperforming him at every turn at the moment. I mean, obviously not this weekend, but it's not looking good for him. I've been saying it for a while. I think I'd be surprised if he stuck with the car, but stuck with the team next season.
And it's one of those situations as well with Latifi. If he loses that Williams drive, nobody else is picking up, are they? It's basically Williams or nowhere for him. And also, he won't get test drive anywhere. I wouldn't have thought that. I think he'd end up just... I don't want to say this about sports cars, but sometimes drivers of Latifi's driven a lot of different things on his way up into Formula 1. He was in the Porsche Cup and Formula 3 at the same time, and driving everything he could get his hands on. I think he is the perfect driver for a sports car championship. I think if you had an LMP2 team and you needed a pro, I would get Latifi in, because he seems a very nice guy. He would get on with your team. He would show your AM driver how to drive as well, and he could be a great driver coach in that series, and I think he'd be very successful.
He might not be the fastest driver around, but he does have talent. It's just doesn't appear very often.
Yes, it's unfortunate. Sometimes in Formula 1 things just don't happen for people, and that seems he's had a fair crack at it as well. It's not like he's in his rookie season. He's been around now for... Is this his fourth season? Third season?
Third comes to mind, but it might be fourth.
So he's been around. He's been around 50 Grand Prix more than.
Yeah,
easy.
Made a good point. Albon had the car updates this race, and Latifi managed to outqualify him. Admittedly, it was very, very close between the two of them, but it's
he's there, and that's kind of where we're at with him. But Oscar Piastri, I mean, we're all expecting him to go to Williams. He could end up at Alpine, because Alpine seem to be delaying the news about Alonso signing, but Alonso's had a really good season despite the results really not being there. I mean, he got the front row at Canada. He was. We'll
have just had a. It's the last couple of seasons for Alonso, he seems to have come alive. Particularly this season, but last season as well, he had his moments last season. He's just... I don't know how he's still driving at that caliber at 40.
He's 42, isn't he?
So.
He's just a class driver. That's the way he is, the way he operates. The reason why he went for the Triple Crown is because he knew his days in Formula One at the top end were probably over. So he made this Triple Crown attempt his, and he went off and he went sports car racing. And I'll always remember Daytona, where he was driving in the wet, and he was driving about 4 seconds a lap quicker than anybody else.
Yeah.
And it was just unbelievable driving. He just took to that and showed everybody, look, I can still drive. And he's doing that at Alpine. Give him the opportunity. We saw it at Qatar last year, where he got the podium. We saw it at Hungary, where he defended his heart out.
Word, that was
against Hamilton. We've seen it here this season as well. We've seen also the naughty side of him, which he does seem to be like a naughty schoolboy at times. He will push the envelope so much, and he knows what he's doing. But that's the reason he's one of my favourite drivers.
Yeah. I just find him really entertaining to watch, because he's just... It just feels like he will just throw everything at every second of every race. And it's brilliant to see.
You only need to give Alonso a sniff, and he'll take it. He'll take it. My love for old man Alonso is growing and growing, and long may he continue in Formula One. But Vettel as well. Let's go back to another old man of Formula One. I say old man; he's the same age as me. He had a nice demonstration in his race without Trace. FW14B that's running on carbon neutral fuel, which does propose the question, could F1 go back to bigger engines, the V10s, and run carbon neutral? Would you be interested in that, Wolfman? You're the new generation. Do you want big noisy cars?
I mean, there's something about the sound of F1 cars that it's not, there's nothing like it, but it's you look at the carbon neutral side of things, and does it take away from the sport? And it's not saying we shouldn't be looking after the environment, but things like Formula E, I feel like if we wanted to look after the environment, we should have waited a few more years for Formula E, because I think Formula E is still worse for the environment than F1 is, because of the giant batteries they have to carry everywhere with them. I think there is something to be said for a sort of changing of the guard every now and then to make just like regulation changes. It may not spice it up much, but I think I think carbon neutral something is in Formula One's future. Not yet.
It has to be 2030.
Yeah.
They've said they want to go carbon neutral, so
we're getting close to that ish.
Getting close. It's not that far away, and we've got new engine regulations that are being worked on. It's something that was proposed, and it's been proposed years and years. Every single time we get engine proposals, it comes up about universal engines at the top levels of motorsport. Basically, you are an engine manufacturer. You build a V6, but that V6 can be added to a sports car or an Indy car or an F1 car, and all you do is you put the turbos and add turbos to it and change it slightly to make it meet the regulations. I think something along those lines should be considered, but I don't think it will. We're seeing hypercar in endurance racing right now absolutely boom. Every single manufacturer is going into hypercar like it's going out of fashion.
It's insane. Have we had both McLaren and Ferrari join up in the last couple of months, I think.
Is the McLaren one official?
I heard something about McLaren. I
Yes.
can't remember. I heard something official about McLaren. I can't remember what it was. I know Ferrari is, but yeah. Sorry.
It's I just got distracted by a message as well. It may have been the same one. Sorry, dead air. It's worst thing. Yes, I don't know if the McLaren one is official. There's lots of stuff going on though. Porsche are official. They've launched their car and shown it off, and it looks stunning. And hopefully they'll run it in not red, white, and black, like everybody else does.
Yeah.
We've got somebody has snuck into the chat.
Hello.
Here he is. Rennie Arnou's favourite driver. He was speechless to meet this person, and he got his autograph, believe it or not. Here is Matt Psycho. Matt Psycho, how are you?
Not too bad, thank you. I actually got a selfie, not an autograph. But
Well,
even better.
no, Rennie Arnoux got your autograph, didn't he? You got the selfie, he got the autograph.
I got a sort of a French shrug.
French shrug. See, that's acceptance. We're just talking about hypercar, Matt. I don't know if you've seen the new cars that are coming out. BMW have DPI as well. BMW have got a DPI that they're running, which looks stunning. The Porsche is out. We're expecting news from Ferrari at some point. The McLaren one, I don't know if that's official or not.
Still digging.
You're still digging for the McLaren one. I don't think the McLaren one is official yet.
I saw something about it. I can't remember what I saw.
But Zach Brown's got United Autosport. United Autosport's running, so I suspect they're in the development stage. I'm sure. But Le Mans, Matt, great times for them. But let's talk about just your brief opinions of Formula One at the weekend. We've talked about Zhao and how scary that looked. You watching live as well, and just thoughts and feelings about that in general.
Oh, that was. I think I posted some of the fan footage that came out yesterday. I can't believe they all stood there or sat there. I've been running, but it's proper scary. I don't know how it translated on the Channel 4, but that wait is horrible.
It was live on Channel 4.
Oh, it was live, of course it was, yeah. No, that wait is horrible, isn't it? And then when they said, they're working in confined space, you think, what does that mean? Now we saw the pictures, we understand, but the Halo does it again, right? I wasn't a fan at all when that was first announced, and I'm a massive fan now. I don't know how many lives it saved, but it's a number now.
How daft do we feel that we had this debate about the Halo, about it being in F1? It was
all it's aesthetically not very nice, and it's going to obscure the driver's vision. I think it's Halo's not going anywhere for a while. Hopefully ever.
Nah, it would never go. No, it'll never go. No. Ferrari being Ferrari.
Yes.
Virtually every time, haven't we? It's Ferrari just being Ferrari. That's probably at least 3 wins that Leclerc has lost.
Yeah. I think I said it the other day. I do sometimes wonder if Ferrari's strategist is a small child. It's they
won't
make
even give them that much credit.
Silly decisions.
Ferrari's strategies does seem to be, let's hope it goes away. Seems to be their strategy a lot of the time. Let's just hope this problem goes away and we don't have to deal with it. Is it gone away yet? No. Okay, let's just leave it again. Let's see. Until they eventually have to do something. When Lewis Hamilton is pounding up behind them, approaching possibly the winner's circle. I can't tell you how nervous I was watching that, as a person who has predicted on this podcast he would not win a race this season.
I mean, it still stands true.
It still stands true.
Well, yeah. I think you were lucky that you were wrong. Sorry, lucky you were right, I think, so far.
Yeah.
Because, things are panned out. I think before the safety car came out, then I know Leclerc had a bit of a gap, but yeah, certainly after the safety car, I thought he's got this, and then he had one bad lap, didn't he? That kind of he got embroiled in the Leclerc Perez fight, and that kind of let Sainz get away.
It did. How amazing was that fight, though? That was
brilliant. It was brilliant.
And Alonso and Norris just kind of there.
Just waiting.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was brilliant. It was. I must admit, I'm like a huge Hamilton fan. He drove very well. He was gifted Perez and Leclerc's place. Everyone can say it was a mega move, but yeah, it was obvious that was going to happen.
It was, you've taken each other off slightly, I'll just take the place. It wasn't...
Leclerc's move on Hamilton, was stunning.
We've not talked about that.
I'm going to say, have you covered all this yet? But,
no, we've not talked about cops. That was, the move around the outside. It was what they should have
done last year.
Yeah, we won't get into that.
No, let's not open that can of worms again.
But to do it on hards, knackered hards at that, with wing damage, was just unbelievable.
Leclerc...
That's one of the best passes I've seen since I think Alonso did Schumacher back at Suzuka. It was just a mega pass.
Yes, and that move, I saw that recently because I was re-listening to some old F1 podcast stuff. And that move around 130R back then, when now 130R is easy flat, it wasn't back in 2005, and it just unbelievable, that one.
Have you seen the original commentary that goes with it?
I have.
Yes.
It's worth a watch. There's a sharp intake of breath, and I think Brundle said that could have been a plane crash if that had gone wrong. It would have been a plane crash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've had the Alonso love in this podcast as well. So we've been gushing about Alonso. Mick Schumacher finally getting a point, Matt.
Yeah, brilliant.
He got 4, not 1.
Verstappen was being a bit naughty, I thought, and Mick
agreed.
Sensibly backed out and thought, it's really not worth chucking away 8th place for 7th.
When Verstappen gets
really pleased with him.
We actually spoke about that earlier, about Verstappen and Perez, and a few squeezes on the exits of corners are sneaking in again. The one that really comes to mind is Verstappen on Leclerc at the start of the race, down into, I forget what the corner is called, at the end of the Hangar Straight.
Stowe.
Into Stowe.
Stowe, yeah.
Yes, into Stowe. That was naughty. That should have been penalised, surely.
If you run onto the gravel there, you can very easily lose the car. Like, I think we've seen it happen recently. Someone losing the car, having been run off the track at Stowe, losing the car and coming back on the track. That's
what happened in the F2, wasn't it? It was coming out, but it's what happened in the F2.
Yes, which Wolfbane watched live on the podcast.
Yes.
Watching seeing his reaction of that. It's just...
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty scary as well.
I was kind of aware it happened, but completely forgotten to look at it. Yeah, that was...
It's been a weekend of scares, and we have really avoided some things. It's quite scary. If these things had happened maybe 5 years ago, well, it would have been a very different weekend. But something I wanted to ask you, Matt, in particular, you went to Goodwood.
I did.
And just in general, your experience of Goodwood, what did you see? What were the highlights, apart from obviously meeting a Frenchman?
Well, I'm still kind of in shock on that. So, that was that kind of summed it all up for me. It's cool. I wish I'd gone 15, 20 years ago. It's pretty busy now, but even so, it's still. I did it in a day with a couple of mates. It's not long enough. You need 2 days. I mean, we barely saw anything go up the hill. There's so much to see. It's I was slightly becoming an EV fan now, slightly. After watching the Batmobile go up the hill, which was just insane. But it's just a brilliant, if you love motor racing, it's just a brilliant day out. You can wander around the paddocks. All the cars are just open. I went to one of the little paddocks out the back, and Anthony Reid was there talking to people, sort of arm on his Nissan 92, maybe? Is it 92? The Super Tourers, the Vodafone touring cars.
2001. Yeah.
But it's just you could just literally have a poke around all the cars. Nothing is off limit. A couple of the F1 Mercedes were there, and I think the summit was going on their stand, and you couldn't get up to their cars. But by and large, you can look at anything and everything. It's just a brilliant day out. If you haven't gone, I recommend it. It's fantastic.
So it's on my bucket list to do.
Yeah, no, it's. I mean, I love all the old 70s and 80s. Yeah, they had loads of. I actually didn't see Mansell do his run in the Williams, but they had a 639 and a 640 Ferrari. Yeah, the 89 and 90 Ferraris, which are just gorgeous. They're just sitting in the paddock with a body work off. Group C cars dotted around. It's brilliant. It's nirvana for anyone who likes motor racing.
There you go. Goodwood, sponsors of this podcast. Maybe one day.
Maybe one day. But no, definitely go. It's got to be on your bucket list to do it. It's a brilliant day out. But I suggest you do 2 days and make a full weekend of it, because one day's not enough.
No, it's something that I've wanted to go for years and years and years. Never got around to it, and then
same with me. I only went first time last year.
It's one of those daft things. And now, as you say, you've been twice in a row now.
And it's not just racing cars as well. A lot of the manufacturers now are kind of treating it as a motor show. So all the big OEMs have got pretty big stands. That by and large you can go into all the cars. EVs are getting bigger. Polestar had a big stand. Had a poke around some of their stuff. That was really good. Dribbled over quite a few Porsches. So it's Jaguar Land Rover, Ford at a stand. All the big OEMs have got stands as well. So it's as much a car show now as it is a racing car show. So it ticks all the boxes basically.
Basically, if you like a car, go.
Yep.
Go. It's Pat's in the chat. The only Mercedes team F1 car to have an engine-related mechanical breakdown all season was on a demo run at Goodwood. There you go. That's how.
That's true, actually. Yeah.
There you go. So that's how well Mercedes are running right now in F1 as well. So that's brilliant knowledge, Pat. Pat, one day, Pat, we'll have you on the podcast because you bring all the knowledge in the chat, and you make us sound like we know what we're talking about at times. Anyway, let's have a little run down the F1 results. Sainz won, obviously. Matt, big Carlos Sainz fan. The win and the pole, obviously must have been very happy.
Yeah, he kind of lucked into it to a degree, didn't he? But not taken away from him. He's deserved it, so very pleased.
Sometimes you just win the races you're not meant to. I remember winning my one race in Formula X. And I shouldn't have won that race, but I did. I've had better races and didn't win them. So,
was that before or after you punted me off? Can't remember. As teammates.
Oh, that was season 1. That was season 1 at Spa.
Still remember it good.
I didn't punt you off. It was I was trying to dive up the inside of your rival, and unfortunately you were on the exit of the corner, and I just slightly tapped you wide. It wasn't a huge punt, but there we go. That was awkward. We won the team championship.
Wolfane, he's a nightmare as a teammate.
It's all right. I'm not driving at the moment, so there we go.
He got big eyes of making a pass into the source and forgot I was on the other side.
I've had Jam as a teammate.
Yeah, he has.
I had him in my first half season.
Double podium at Suzuka. Thank you very much. There we are. Where were we?
Sorry.
I've lost all the train of thought because you were being
doing a rundown. You were doing a rundown.
I was doing a rundown. There we go. Sainz won, Perez second somehow, Hamilton third, Leclerc fourth, Alonso fifth, Norris sixth, Verstappen seventh, Mick Schumacher eighth, Vettel ninth, 10th Magnussen, 11th Stroll, 12th Latifi, 13th Daniel Ricciardo. We're not going to go there. Number 14 was Tsunoda, who decided to take out his teammate.
Can we pick up Vettel?
That? Oh, we've been bigging him up. We've been bigging him up. We've been talking about his race without Trace as well. His demo
that was amazing when they're watching that Williams go around.
So I did ask Wolfbane if he would like to see bigger engined cars, and that's what we were talking about when you came in, actually, and we got onto hypercar. Would you be interested in big, noisier sounding cars that run on carbon neutral fuel, or hybrid technology in Formula One, Matt?
Are you asking as a consumer or as a what has more longevity for the series?
Both.
Well, obviously, bring back V10s.
That's a good podcast.
Yeah, which is a very good podcast. I thought it was really interesting, actually, that the sort of point he was making, that, you can run V10s on carbon neutral fuel. So I think that's a pretty interesting point. The trouble is, the way the world is going is EVs, unless there's a massive change in legislation, and therefore none of the OEMs are interested in ICE technology, unfortunately.
No.
That's just the way it is. So, as much as I'd love it, and as much as I thought it was a really good point he was making, the manufacturers just won't be interested.
It is one of those things
that's just unfortunately the way it goes.
The way of the world, isn't it? It was the reason why we were talking about Le Mans and everything, about having a universal engine as well for the top flights, motorsports, where you just go, can I have a Porsche engine? Yes, here it is. Do you want to put it in your sports car or your Formula One car? And basically aligning everything and just making sure that there are different bits and pieces that you put onto them just to make them maybe a bit more powerful.
Well, that's what Formula One did, wasn't it? Back in the 70s, DFEs. That was basically it.
That was it.
Buy yourself a few DFEs, plug it into a chassis.
There you go. Then that's how you went racing. And Endurance Nuts talking about Jackie Stewart Classic as well. He was there a few weeks ago. He met John Cleland and his Vauxhall with all the get-up and everything else. He also met Patrick Freisacker as well. So that's the name.
John Cleland was a legend.
He was. He was.
Dear.
So,
don't have personalities like him anymore.
Apparently not still, either. He's still very much the same man that you remember. The championship in Formula One, let's talk about Verstappen leading with 181 points. Perez still in second with 147. Leclerc 138. Sainz 127. Russell 111, Hamilton 93, Norris 58, Bottas 46, Ocon 39, and 28 points for Alonso. Red Bull leading the championship quite clearly with 328 points to Ferrari 265, Mercedes 204, McLaren 73, Alpine 67, that's close, Alfa Romeo 51, AlphaTauri 27, Haas 20, Aston Martin 18, and Williams now starting to drop off a bit with only 3 points. So that is the
What's the difference between Sainz and Leclerc now?
The difference is 11 points.
Ooh.
Yes.
Ooh. So it takes one more result where Sainz beats Leclerc and that all changes, doesn't it?
Yes, it's a lot closer than it should be. And they've both had engine problems as well, so it's not as if Sainz had all those issues at the start of the season as well, where Australia and Imola, where he didn't get any points. So again, Leclerc over a season, it just seems to go wrong for him.
Well, yeah, not his fault this time, but yeah.
Well, it's not his fault, but it just seems to happen quite a bit. So those are the results. Are there anything more you'd like to add about the Formula One in general before we get to obviously the reason everybody comes and listens to these podcasts?
No, I don't think so. It's Red Bull Ring this weekend, isn't it? So.
It is in GTE season 2,
and the real thing as well.
Oh.
Funny that.
There's, as I said to Wolfbane earlier, there's a reason why I schedule things sometimes. It is GTE and then obviously Formula One as well. GTE comes back for season 2.
Can I ask?
Yes.
Where's Nürburgring?
Nürburgring?
Yeah.
It's not on this season.
I know. It wasn't on season 1 either.
Oh, the Nordschleife?
Yeah.
Well, we had Nürburgring GP circuit. Didn't you enjoy that?
Yeah.
Nah. It was a bit of a procession, that race.
Well, there you go. It had a little bit of scare with the rain, but didn't properly rain. So
it rained. I was like, I'm gonna rain, but not enough for you to need to change tyres.
Yes. So there we go. It wasn't a bad race. It was pretty good. Where were we? So yeah, the GT starts on Sunday. Wolfbane is a team boss this time. Is that less pressure, more pressure?
Different pressure. I haven't been a team boss in a while. Yes, I have stopped my PlayStation from going into rest mode, by the way. Yeah, it's different pressure. I was team boss in a league before I even joined SNL.
There are no such things as leagues other than SNL.
Sorry. I was team boss in another life, but yeah, it's certainly interesting. Setups are a thing. Yeah. Last season was very helpful for me getting my head around some of them. Le Mans helped as well. It's a different kind of pressure, and I still wanted to be involved with the series, and I'm not going to be able to race more than about 3 races this season, so I just figured I'd step back into a team boss. I plan to get back to racing very soon.
Yes, there will be opportunities in the summer as well. Matt, defending champion in GTE, and your big rival, Silent Wolf, in a similar sort of situation, can't race this season due to clashes, so he's not in. Illusion as well is unable to race. So, I mean, this is your championship, isn't it, Matt? That's done.
First thing I'd like to say is the Alpha looks very pretty, Wolfbane. Good job on that. I look forward to seeing that going backwards through lots of hedges.
That's all right. We'll make it work. What I have learnt is I should not be picking cars for my teams.
Well, I was secretly hoping you'd get me, actually, so I would have the challenge of trying to tune that thing.
I had 19 tokens and everyone else had more than me at the time when everyone was going for you.
But what happened with the bidding? I mean, honestly.
34 tokens, Matt Cypher.
Gazman is mad.
And I thought 26 for me was outrageous last season.
I'm not sure I like that, because it's like, I'm not that good.
I'll tell you
Really
what, Endurance Nut spent 16 on all of his drivers.
I know, it's amazing.
I didn't spend 19 tokens, technically.
Yes, well, they don't go to anything.
No, it's good. It's the Hyundai is quite a lot different to the Corvette, so I'm looking forward to it. The tyres is I like the tyre rule. It's going to make things very
A
interesting.
real bloody headache.
Yeah, no, I like it.
Good.
I like it. It's good.
The team bosses had an easy ride last season.
Yeah, they did.
I've given them some work to do. If you don't know what the tyre rule is, basically, the softs and the hards have to be chosen. There's 3 rounds for the softs and 2 rounds for the hards. The medium tyre is the control and standard tyre. So, yes, and they have to run both tyres during the race if it stays dry. So that's going to be key.
Qualifying.
And qualifying as well. So, yes, you have to basically sacrifice yourself a little bit if you want to use those hards and mediums and pick the circuit that you feel confident at as well.
Yeah.
So I assume in qualifying you've still got to use medium and hards if that's your race choice,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Yeah.
you can't stick on a pair of softs
Okay.
because then you will be disqualified because you've put the wrong tyre on.
I noticed actually as well, you've changed the fuel rate has gone up a bit, hasn't it? So the pit stops are going to be a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
Yes, the pit stops are a bit quicker, so it's 5 litres per second instead of the standard 3 litres per second, just to see what it does, just to give a bit of an experiment. But it's going to be different with the fuel rates and everything else, so races are a little bit longer as well. So it's all coming to you live on Sunday at 8 p.m, and yeah, we'll see what the championship looks like. We've got different teams, different cars. Let's just run through who's driving where. So we've got Alfa Romeo, and you've got Wolfbane as the boss, and he's got Daz, he's got Noxie, and he's got Tiny Terror, which is a very strong team.
It is a very strong team. Very strong.
Plan.
Noxie was a bargain.
Noxie for
bargain.
I haven't
5
seen him
tokens,
race in a
Noxie.
very long time, but I thought I'd take a chance
Noxie's
on him. And...
quick. That's the bargain you've got there. We'll put it this way: when we did the 3 24-hour race, the AXR at Fuji, Noxie was as quick, if not quicker than I was. So you've got a bargain there.
There you go. Genesis Endurance Nuts team. He's got Penguino, Jim, and Aloe, which, I mean, that is a team as well. That's got some strong drivers in there.
Does, yeah.
And I think they're all getting on that Genesis as well, so that's a strong team.
Genesis is a good little car, actually. I had a quick go at that around Watkins Glen.
I think I'm the only
good
person who
car.
doesn't like it.
Oh, that's great. I really enjoyed driving it. Really? I really enjoyed it.
Doesn't overstay enough for me.
No.
Yeah, that's what I like. It's good.
The Hyundai team, so that is Gazman's team. We've got Method, who's brand new to the league, and it's great to see him in the team. I don't know what he's like. We'll see what he's like. A great gamble, maybe, from Gazman. Matt Psycho, obviously. And Yokas as well. Again, 2 of the team championship winning drivers in that team from last season. So that is a strong team. Mitsubishi, Cool Boy, is the team boss there, and he's got Rob on drums, DeWill, and Digweed again. I think this season, Rob on drums, the way it works, Rob on drums is a very tactical driver. I think he's going to have some very good, strong results.
I think he will. He's got a team principal with a good head on his shoulders, and 2 teammates that are quite good as well. So it'll be interesting to see how that team does.
And then finally, we've got Nissan with Chris Boo as the team boss, who unfortunately can't drive this season. He's got wheel issues. So we've got Bunnies, who was one of the stars last season. We've got Tiger, who was a team boss last season, and we've got Jonovan as well. So again, a very strong team. The team championship, I would not like to call.
No.
Last season, we had 4 teams that could have won it into the final round. I think all 5 could possibly win it this season. Looking at those lineups,
yeah, I think it'll. I think with those lineups we might see some tracks where the cars make the difference. We saw it a couple of times last season, but not. I think it's going to be more pronounced this season. You're going
to have different tyres on different cars as well.
Well, there is that as well, yeah.
Yeah, so that's going to be interesting. So yeah, it's going to be open, really open.
Yeah,
and it's a short championship as well, 5 rounds, which is, I must admit, I'm starting to become a very big fan of the 5-round championship. It's just long enough for you to enjoy, and just short enough for you to want more. It's they're intense little seasons. So that will start on Sunday. But that is Sunday. Tonight is tonight. It's time for everybody's favourite thing of these podcasts. It is the quiz. We've got a quiz. We've got a quiz this week. We've got a quiz. We've also got a podcast as well. So, Wolfbane, you're doing so well in the quizzes at the moment.
Yes,
you've got a great record over the past couple of weeks when we didn't have a podcast. Would you like to go first or second?
I will go... Ooh, do I want to go first or second? I'll go first.
You can go first. So, if you can answer the question without the options, it's 2 points. Or with the options, it's 1 point if you get it right. There are themes. I wonder if you can pick the theme out.
God.
So, sorry, Wolfbane, I've completely forgotten which one you've said. First. There we go. Yeah. First choice. Here we go then. Wolfbane, your question. Fernando Alonso was the last Spanish driver to get pole position for Ferrari. That was at the 2012 German Grand Prix. All I want to know is who won that race.
I have absolutely no idea. Can I have the options, please?
Of course you can. The options are Sebastian Vettel, Fernando Alonso, or Lewis Hamilton.
I mean, it was 2012, so that was kind of Red Bull time, but I'm going to guess it was Alonso.
Pat has gone for Mark Webber, so Pat's on a little bit of a delay. It was Fernando Alonso.
Oh, I was right.
There you go. Would you have got that, Matt?
Yeah, I think I've had a punt. That was his brilliant year, wasn't it?
He drove unbelievably in that horrible-looking Ferrari. And nearly won the championship. Pat went for Vettel. So, Pat, you didn't get that. Wolfbane, you're beating Pat. You're beating the master.
I have a score.
There we go. You have a score as well. Let's see if you can beat one. Yes. Here, Matt, your question. The 1999 European Grand Prix saw Pedro Diniz go upside down at the start of that race, in a very similar manner to Zhou, where his roll hoop was smashed. Who won that race, though?
Johnny Herbert.
Oh, there you go. Just like that. Driving for?
Stewart.
There you go. Stewart Grand Prix, their only win before they became Red Bull.
Jarno Trulli finished second and Barrichello finished third.
He did. Can you remember how many wheels Ferrari brought to their car for Irvine in that race?
I think it was 3.
Yes, and then they had a committee meeting about putting the 4th one on.
Yes. that Frentzen should have won that race, and it probably denied him from the title.
It did. He came out.
Did you know actually it was his fault? Did you know that?
Yes, he did something different, didn't he?
He inadvertently switched the ignition off, I think, or something.
Yeah, he pressed something that had never been pressed before, and switched it all off.
Yeah.
Which, it was a typical Frentzen type of thing to do.
Yeah, I really like Frentzen as well. Actually, I was a big fan of him as well.
He was somebody I liked, and then he went to Williams, and then it seemed to go wrong. But then Jordan, that season at Jordan in '99, he drove brilliantly.
Yeah, it's one of my favourite F1 cars. That car.
I can look at it on my shelf right now. There it is. That's one of my winners. So, Wolfbane, sorry about that. We're two old men talking about Formula One.
It's always interesting to hear
it. Question 2. One day, Matt, we'll just do a podcast. We have had this podcast.
It's just the sarcasm. It cracks me up. I can feel it.
When did Alonso win his first race? Wolfbane, when did Alonso win his first race? He's the longest serving driver in Formula One history. When did he win his first race?
I have absolutely no idea. I can think of about 4 different years it could have been.
Okay, let's see if it's one of these years then. Was it the Hungarian Grand Prix in 2002? Was it the Hungarian Grand Prix in 2003? Or was it the Hungarian Grand Prix in 2004?
Well, I'm going to guess it was at Hungary.
It was.
Let's go 2003. Yeah, go on. 2003.
2003, that's your final answer. Pat has gone for 2004.
I'd go 3.
Matt's going for 3. Wolfbane, you've only just gone and done it. You've gone and got 2 points.
Oh my god!
You've got 2 points. 2003 in that Renault. Brilliant victory.
I don't think I'm allowed more than 1 point.
There we go. We're in an uncharted territory right now. Here he comes. Matt, you are under pressure now. You've got 2 points, but here is your question number 2. Luciano Berti, there's a name you don't hear every day, hit Michael Schumacher at the start of the German Grand Prix in the 2001 version of that race. But which team was he driving for at the time?
Prost.
Oh, was it Prost? It was Prost. That's 2 points for Matt Psycho.
I had a bit of a... Was it Prost on Ligier?
Prost or Ligier. Well, the options were Benetton, Prost or Jaguar. So all teams that he had association with at some point.
Would you give it to me if it was Ligier?
No.
If I'd gone Ligier and it was Prost.
No, because it wasn't Ligier. Clearly, Ligier and Prost were completely different teams. Completely different. They definitely were not the same. So, Wolfbane, 4 points. So you've got to get this answer without the questions without the answers being revealed, should I say? Not without the question, because that would be impossible. You'd just give me a random answer, and I'd be able to say no. See if you can guess the answer. When was Alonso's most recent victory in F1? So we've had his first one, which was Hungary in 2003. When was his most recent one?
Well, that's tough.
I'm trying to remember when Alonso was not driving in that terrible McLaren. Because it was definitely before... Yeah, it was definitely before that. I'm going to guess 2014.
Okay. It wasn't in 2014.
No. Oh, okay.
Because that Ferrari was also a dog.
Yeah.
With a horrible step nose look that made even the 2012 car look quite nice.
Now I need
so the options were, if you're playing at home...
Okay, yes, that Ferrari.
Can I have a guess?
You can have a guess.
Wasn't Valencia 2012, was it?
So Valencia 2012 is your guess. Pat has said Valencia 2013. So the options were Germany 2012, China 2013, or the Spanish Grand Prix in 2013.
I mean, Germany 2012 comes to mind. It's the first one that comes to mind out of them. So I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go with my gut.
Okay, so Germany 2012, because that was the first question of tonight's quiz. No, it was not. It was Spain 2013.
That'll be why it came to mind, yeah.
Yes, there you go. That's why it was mentioned. I thought it might trick somebody. There we go. Paying attention there, Wolfbane at the back.
Yeah. It's quite warm at the moment.
At least something has sunk in tonight.
Yep.
There we go. Pat, Valencia was actually 2012 that he won that race, again in that pig of a car. He won so many races in that car that he shouldn't have won. So, final one then, Matt. This is just for fun now. Verstappen hit the wall at Cops in 2021. we won't talk about that. But what was the G-force recorded, according to, well, Christian Horner? I mean, it could have been 4,000 G, according to Christian Horner. But what was the official figure released?
I will say... Are you going to give me a plus or minus? You're not, are you?
No, I want the exact figure.
Given that Wolfbane can't catch me, I'll go 65G.
Oh, Pat has got it exactly bang on. It doesn't even need the options. No, it's not 65G. The options were 51G, 37G, or 69G. Nice. And Pat got it exactly right. It was 51G.
Right. Well done, Pat.
Plus whatever Christian Horner said it was as well. So there we go. Matt is officially the winner of the quiz. Again, surprise. How does it feel, Matt?
Always honoured and humbled.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There you go. That is the sign of a true champion. And somebody who expects to win quite a lot and isn't surprised by it either.
You said it, not me.
Well, there you go. That's what I'm here for. To big your ego up and make you feel good. Always. He's gone. Ladies and gentlemen, we've broken Matt Psycho. Hopefully, he will be returning on Sunday and defending his championship. Something, Matt, you don't run the number 1 plate when you can. You just love the 16 so much.
Yeah, I'm not superstitious, but I kind of am. So yeah, 16's kind of like always worked well for me. So yeah, why? I think Hamilton never did either.
No,
Hamilton's run it once.
Does he? Yeah.
When he had to by regulation.
Yeah, I don't know why, but
so when he was forced to run number 1.
Yes, when he was forced to run number 1, he did.
Yeah, no, yeah. Weirdly, but choose not to. So, Yep. No, well, I'll be 16 again.
Yeah. Well, if touring cars ever comes back, I'm definitely running the number 1 plate if I'm driving.
If Formula X ever comes back, I'll be running number 1 probably.
There you go. There you go.
Well,
that shows you the fragile egos of Wolfbane and myself.
We like to remember good times.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yeah. You know. There we go. The most recent championship I won, and the last races I won as well. I've run. Yeah, my last season of Formula X was not particularly good, but there we go. Anyway, less of that. Join us next week. Hopefully, I don't know if we'll be here. Hopefully, we will be. Things seem to have calmed down a little bit with the F1 podcast. Hopefully, we'll be back and talking about the Austrian Grand Prix and probably talking as well about the GTE Round 1 at the Red Bull Ring as well. So which one will be better? Oh, there's only one way to find out. Watch on Sunday night on YouTube at 8 PM here. Any final thoughts, please, Wolfbane?
Ricciardo needs to get his act together. That's all I'm going to say.
There we go.
So he does.
There we go. Matt, anything else to add?
There's, if anyone is listening, there's a game GT7 update tomorrow.
Oh, right. Well,
if you didn't know that.
Well, we've got 6 people watching, so 3 of them are us, and then there's probably
2 of them are you. I'm not watching, so.
Well, there you go.
Well then.
Not even committed to the cause.
Update,
Turns up late. Doesn't watch himself.
Yeah, well, one never likes to watch oneself. But yeah, no, there's a bug fixes apparently, whatever that means.
That probably means you can't do whatever this engine glitch thing is that I've definitely not used because I have no idea what anybody's talking about.
Hopefully it's lobby fixes, but
server maintenance bug fixes apparently. Well,
hope springs eternally that they'll actually fix the lobbies.
They'll fix the lobbies and hopefully there's less jerking when there's more people from a different region.
Yeah,
Maybe.
It's interesting. I wonder if we should run a controlled experiment on that or something. Because it's definitely... When I was...
worth it.
I had a session last night, and when it was just me and you, Jam, I was watching you. It was perfect. And then
yes, that's how I drive.
You were doing pretty good.
Considering that's a controller at the end of a busy long day, I wasn't doing too bad in terms of pace.
Very good for a controller. But no, you were rock solid, and then a couple of people joined, and it just started jittering. I mean, it wasn't bad, but it started jittering again. It's like, oh, come on. But yeah, I wonder if it is. I think we need to make sure that everyone goes as far as they can in terms. Because every race I do now, I reset my router, I reset the PlayStation, get rid of all the cache every single time, just to make sure it's as clean as it can be.
I'm removing games I'm not playing on a PlayStation in case it's storage space based. Unlikely, but there's always the chance.
Yeah, we probably just need to reiterate to people, just make sure you're as clean as you can be in terms of connection.
Always be clean. That's good life advice there from Matt Psycho. Be clean. And also get rid of your cash. And having recently bought a house and doing all of that, I have no cash, so there's definitely no problems my end. Anyway, there we go. On that poor joke and the rambling starting, I think it's time we should go and finish off these things that we call the SNL F1 podcast. Good night, everybody.